All right, what is going on? Happy Monday morning. If you listen to this when the episode drops, it is Monday, January 19th. Welcome to the Risen Fallen podcast. I am your host, Mark Hendrickson. If you're brand new to this show, then what you can expect is open and authentic conversations about things like mental health, self-development, and how to get your life moving in the right direction. If you're not feeling good about where you are right now, at least having the confidence knowing that you're moving one step closer every single day. Moving towards who you want to be, where you want to be, what you want to be doing. And I hope that you're feeling like, you're making progress towards that on a daily basis. And so, how is everybody doing today? Like I said, it is January 19th as I record this, and I'm feeling like, and I talked about this, I think, on the last podcast, or the last couple podcasts even, where I was doing interviews, but basically, this the last like month and a half, this is like the first time where I don't know if I wouldn't even call it like that whole like seasonal affective disorder that people get, or depression, or whatever, winter blues, or whatever you want to call it. But in the last hold up, my mouth is kind of dry. In the last that's better. That's way better. In the last 2 months, like December, January, I feel like I've still been doing a lot. I've still been kind of on my routines in terms of exercise. I've still been working quite a lot of hours. I did take a couple weeks off for Christmas, but aside from that, I've still been working a lot. I've still been active. I've still been taking care of my routines, taking care of all the things I like to stay disciplined to. But I've just been feeling kind of like dragging ass. I feel like my body feels heavier. And again, not using it as an excuse for anything, because I don't feel like I'm falling behind. I just feel like kind of like this low energy, just kind of chugging along, just waiting for brighter days, waiting for some sunny days. As you can see right here out the window, it is like, we've got this weird fog going on in Vancouver here, and for anybody that's into conspiracy theories, let me know what you think that is, but I don't know. It's just, it's been really cold and really foggy here, really been dark. During the winter time, it's dark most of the day. It's dark in the mornings, it's dark at night, it's dark in the afternoon. You get like a couple hours of sunlight. I'm not feeling depressed, not feeling like unmotivated, just feeling kind of slower. And I was talking with my best buddy recently about this, and we were both kind of saying the exact same thing, like just feeling like dragging ass. But asking yourself, like, is this because it's winter time? Is this because I'm getting older? I'm 30 years old now. Is this what being 30 years old feels like? And all my buddies that are in their 40s are like, wait till you're fucking 40. All my buddies, or is there something, sometimes I think in my head, is there something kind of silently, slowly draining us? And again, that's kind of my conspiracy theorist kind of brain going off. But regardless, just coming to terms with the fact that not every season, and I think I might have spoken about this before, but not every season is meant for harvesting. Some seasons are meant for sowing. Some seasons are meant for planting. I guess that's sowing. Some seasons are meant for maintenance on your tools, maintenance on your lifestyle, I guess. I don't know. But it's one of those seasons right now in the winter time, especially here in Canada. Like BC and Vancouver here especially, we have probably the mildest winter in Canada. But the rest of Canada, all my Canadians out there, my fellow Canadians, I know it's cold as hell, dude. And so it's naturally your body wants to stay inside, wants to stay warm, stay alive, conserve energy, have food, eat. Because, for most of human existence, depending on where you live, if you live somewhere like this, then wintertime is a time you probably can't get much food, right? Unless you're a master forager or whatever. So just to put it into context, all I'm saying is, not every season, of course you can get after it. Of course you can work your ass off, but not every season is meant for the exact same thing. Sometimes we are meant to slow down. Sometimes we are meant to just chill and recover. Sometimes it's just about kind of being more intentional with your time. I know with myself, like I've had to really dial it in recently, especially taking a couple weeks off for Christmas to be very careful and diligent about screen time. And one of the ways that I've been kind of trying to build my attention span back up, try and also just kind of ground myself and realign myself with kind of better vibrations, because I feel like the thing is, a lot of us, especially myself, I post my stuff on social media. I post my my clips, my little highlight reel from the podcast on social media. And I tell myself, like, I'm going to go on social media. I'm going to share. I'm going to be productive. I'm going to share some of my clips. I'm going to, maybe read some inspirational quotes, read some, some good, see some maybe clips of people doing nice things, inspire myself, motivate myself, maybe see some people crushing it in the gym, crushing it in business. And then I'm going to feel better. I'm going to feel, and then it's always the same old story of like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes goes by, 50 minutes goes by. It's been an hour. And like, I'm just sitting there scrolling. So like I've had to really dial it in, because it took me a while to realize, and I think I read this even in a book. I might have taken a picture of the page that it was on. Or maybe I didn't. Yeah, maybe I didn't. Anyways, this quote was, I'll try and remember it the best I can. Basically, he was just saying like, not going on social media is better for your brain than going on social media and reading an inspirational quote. That's basically the essence of what it was. And it was in the book, What's in It for Them. Joe Polish, I think it is. That's just off the top of my head. I don't have it in here. I just finished it recently, so I don't have it in my office anymore. But, it took me a long time to realize that exact lesson, that like, not going on social media is better for your brain than going on social media and seeing something that inspires you and motivates you. It's better for your brain to just completely stay off of it. And really all I've been trying to do, like I said, what I've been trying to do to counteract that is more reading. I've been trying to diligently like read. I used to do like 10 pages a day. I've been trying to push myself to do like at least like 20, 30 pages a day. For me, that really is pushing myself. For some people, that might sound like that's nothing. I could do that in like a matter of like an hour or whatever, but that takes me quite a while. And so, it's just, the season is just one of those seasons where it's time to slow down and recover. Stay diligent with your routine, stay active, but your activity might look different, or whatever it could be. And as well, like obviously, as you age, I'm not saying that 30 is old, but maybe I'm going to listen back to this in 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, and I'm going to have to rethink this, or for this to age well, I'd have to really honestly say that, as you do get older, being 30 isn't old, but it's not being 20. That's for sure. Because like in your 20s, in your early 20s, you have like this testosterone just flowing through your veins. You've got like fucking adrenaline. You've got all these different hormones going on. You literally can just wake up after like pounding beers with your buddies all night, sleeping like 2 hours. You have a fast food drive-through fucking breakfast, and you're like, I'm ready to rock and roll, dude. Like, let's go. You don't even think about it. And so it's really just not like as you get 10 years older at 30, or as you get 20 years older, you're 40, you're 30 years older at 50. It's not like your discipline disappears. It's just your margin of error does, because you can't afford to, go out and spend late nights drinking poison, eating poison, and then just wake up the next day feeling good anymore. It's just not really the way that it works. And like, as time progresses, that margin of error does get smaller. And so I'm not saying that 30's old, but what I am saying is it's not 20. It's different, right? It's a whole different ball game. And when I'm 40 years old and listen to this, I'm going to cringe because I'm going to be like, dude, you don't know how good you have it, because that's how I feel about myself now looking back at like my 20s. Is like, dude, you have no idea. It's so good right now. And so yeah, it's just one of those times to reflect. It's January. And it is, in my personal opinion, a lot of people, in Western civilization were tricked into thinking this is the new year. I don't really think it's the new year, honestly, now that I've had time to reflect and think back on it. It's probably not the new year. Probably the new year starts in the spring. It makes more sense to me. But again, I'm crazy, I'm stupid, so it's a time to reflect. We'll treat it as the new year. January, December, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, new year. Happy New Year. It's, and I really do think this is the other thing I was thinking about. Sorry, I had to sip another sip, but this is the other thing. And this is not a new topic either. I was just talking about this yesterday with Teddy, how scrolling is the new smoking. And this is kind of like the main thing that I've just been on a tirade about in the last couple months, completely shamelessly. That scrolling, screen time, social media, all of that stuff is literally the new smoking. And what I, and really what I had to think about for me to understand that is what people mean by that phrase. I'm not the one that coined that term, obviously. Like, sitting is the new smoking, scrolling is the new smoking. All of these things have kind of become cliches, but they're cliches for a reason, because they're true. And what people mean by that, like when people are like, oh, this is the new smoking, they don't mean like that it's poisonous, because we all know that it's poisonous. What they mean by that is that, it's like socially normalized. It's doctor recommended during some parts of life. But back in the day, there were doctors that would recommend a cigarette for stress and smoke. Like, that's what the ads were. You can still go back and look at the advertisements that were, the commercials that were on on TV and in radio and in news and in like the newspaper, because that was the original social media. And the same thing with screen time, scrolling, things like that. It's the same thing as smoking, in that, it's quietly harmful. It's not catastrophic in one dosage. It's a slow drip of poison, just slowly hijacking your dopamine system, slowly fragmenting your attention into nothingness, increasing your consumerism, making your mornings and evenings, filled with the activity. Like, that's what I mean. Slow, like it's a slow, and a socially normalized thing. And it's just something that you can constantly have all throughout the day. You can, instead of smoke breaks nowadays, people are just doing scroll breaks. And honestly, if we were to be truthful about it, like half the time people are taking breaks from their scrolling to just do their job for a little bit of time. That's really how it works. And it is just completely fucked. Like, it's the same way that, people used to be able to smoke indoors, and you would walk into an office building and there'd just be like a bunch of salesmen just sitting on their phones, smoking and fucking making phone calls and smoking darts, and everybody was just smoking darts during business meetings. And nowadays it's the same thing. You go in, people talk about the glory days of when you could smoke cigarettes on planes and buses and trains. Like back in the day, you always hear like so-and-so's grandpa or uncle telling stories. Oh, back in Europe, we would just, everyone would be smoking darts on the train. And, you walk around Vancouver and it's the exact, it's, the now, instead of everybody smoking cigarettes, it's like everybody's on their phone, and the rebels are not on their phone, and they're smoking the cigarettes. Everyone now is walking around, instead of with like a dart in between their fingers, they're walking around with their phones in their hands, and they're just walking around playing Pokemon, watching clips, watching porn. I don't know what people do. Like, it's just like crazy. I think most people, what is the average screen time? I know I've done this on the podcast before, but I'm going to ask ChatGPT, definitely not a sponsor of this podcast, but what is the average screen time in Canada? So adults over 18 self-reported 3.2 hours a day, but that's self-reporting. Sedentary behavior trends. Most sedentary time estimates not only screens place adults 9.3 hours a day spent sedentary. Okay, so but that's not looking at screens, that's just spent sedentary. It looks like across all age groups, it's like 3+ hours a day, which is like, it doesn't maybe sound like a lot for people that are heavily addicted to screens, but if you consider that a healthy person would probably sleep like 8 hours of your day, like, and then you work 8 hours of your day, that's 16 hours of your 24. That leaves you with what, 8 hours left? And 3 hours of that, you're fucking scrolling. But I guess most people's excuses would be that they're just doing their scrolling during their work time. Oh, I only do it during this time. I only do it while I'm on the bus. I only do it while I'm doing this. I only do it when I'm bored. Basically, I only really do it. Really, what people are saying when they're saying things like that is, I really only do it when I feel alone or want a dopamine rush, or just I'm bored and I want to feel good. I want to control how I feel. And by that definition, it literally just sounds exactly like an addiction. And that's what it is. And that's what I mean when I say that, and again, I know I'm not the first person to say it, but it's like, dude, scrolling is the new smoking. It is like kind of it's the silent killer. And honestly, it makes people like kind of, it's so eerie and creepy if you look around. Like, it's less creepy when you just look around and see people smoking and still talking and looking at each other and enjoying, if you were to look back at the 50s and the 60s. But nowadays you look around and everyone's just got a phone in their hand instead of a cigarette. And they're not making eye contact. They're all arguing about what's on their screens. They're showing everybody they've lost their sense of humor completely. Like, people don't even make jokes anymore. They just show each other jokes. They show each other memes. In some way, it's like scrolling is the new smoking meth. It's it's so much worse for you than what we give credit to. So, on that note, I feel like it's a beautiful place to wrap this up. January is a time to reflect and to, it's not one of the seasons where you're harvesting all your crops. Sometimes you're in a different season than that, and you are doing maintenance on your farm tools, or you're doing some planting, or you're doing something else. And January is one of those months where you're doing something else. It's not always a month to just be super active and get after it. Again, it's not an excuse to fall off and discontinue your routine or anything, but it is an idea just for you to understand if you're feeling the same way that I am, where you're like, okay, I'm still staying active, I'm still eating pretty well, I'm sleeping pretty well. Why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling tired? Why am I feeling like I'm dragging ass? And it's like, well, it might just be the winter time. It might just be your fucking, it might just be that it's cold and dark for fucking 18 hours of the 24 hours of your life right now, and your body's just fighting to stay warm and energized. Most mammals hibernate, and we are just out here still plugging away at, an 8-hour, 10-hour shift or whatever. And so it's just to rationalize and understand it's okay to feel like you're dragging ass. Just acknowledge that and rationalize it. She's okay, I understand. It's this time of the year, whatever. Summertime, we're going to blast. So, spend this time to and be aware of the fact that it's going to be like you're going to have less energy, you're going to feel more tired, you're going to feel like you're dragging ass, and so you have to be even more diligent and even more disciplined on the things that are going to make you feel better. The things that are going to make you feel, go for a walk, do a stretching session, do these things. And I even say, like, I had to get back into a habit and a routine of journaling and reading. And you might think, like, honestly, like the same way that I did for a long time with journaling, where I would be like, dude, I'm not journaling. I don't need to journal. Dude, journaling, that's the way I would ask it. If someone had asked me, hey, do you journal? I'd be like, journal? You think my grandpa would journal? Do you think my great-great-grandpa would journal? Dude, are you kidding me? And then you would think, well, he didn't have to deal with the attention span assassins that are like these massive conglomerate companies that are literally out here trying to slaughter our attention span, our dopamine systems, completely hijack them. And, they're in the gates. The gates have come down. They've breached the city walls. They're here. And we got to be diligent. We got to fight back and do things that don't come natural to us, like journaling and reading and meditating, and just kind of, we got to fight for our attention span now. It's not just by default that humans have focus and attention span in this world of these fucking assassins that are out here trying to sneak in the back of your brain just like little ninjas and completely overtake you. They go and scroll. That's what they whisper in the back of your head every single day. And so on that note, I think that's a beautiful place to wrap this up. I will see you guys next Monday. Much love. Peace out. Love you all. Bye.